Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your continued support. Right, so the videos I've made lately about the £6 billion in cuts and stuff like that obviously has caused a huge amount of concern among people, and rightly so. I mean, you know, the way the government are using all kinds of different language to say that what they're doing and things like this. And I've seen another article today where they're talking about young people again, about people who are not in education, not in training, not in work, the younger generation. And I think that the majority probably of these targeting cuts to benefits probably going to be on the young more than anyone else. That's just my opinion. I've got no evidence to back that up, but the way they talk, they can continue repeatedly to talk about the young and about how there are so many young people out of work. So I imagine a lot of this is going to be at getting them back into work again. However, there needs to be a strategic approach to this. It's not just a case of cutting benefits, it's about including support for these things. So it's going to cost them money in order to save them money in the eventual case, because you need to put in place things to help people work. Now, it's not just a case of saying, well, here's a job, apply for it, and that's it. It's a case of trying to support them to get that job and then to keep them in that job. And I think that's going to be the key issue here, whether they can do that, and whether there are the jobs there, whether there are the jobs for young people out there. That this is another thing. It's going to be a very tricky situation. But the fallout from that announcement of the £6 billion cuts has been that a number of Labour MPs are getting very, very concerned about this situation, about the potential cuts to vulnerable people and the plunging into poverty that many people may face. One such MP, Rachel Maskell, has come out and done an interview and saying that she has heard deep concerns from several MPs, Labour MPs. It's thought the number could be as many as 80 backbenchers for Labour are actively writing letters to Rachel Reeves and to the Prime Minister to try and get them to change their mind. Now, I don't think that's going to work, because Rachel Reeves is pretty much the same as Keir Starmer. They've got very driven, very focused on what they need to do. They don't really listen to people's concerns, because it's not something that they ever do, really. And I think that it's important that they do, but they won't. So I think this is going to fall on deaf ears. Apparently there's going to be a meeting with the MPs coming up, where the Prime Minister is going to try and convince them that this is the right thing to do. But I think a lot of these MPs, these backbenchers, realise what's going to happen, because what's going to happen is that if this comes in, and if this does affect a lot of disabled people, then what's going to happen is they're going to go to their MPs and they're going to demand that their MPs do something about it. So that these MPs are going to take a lot of heat for what the government are deciding to do. And I also think that they believe that this is going to be a war that they're not going to win, because I can see a lot of legal challenges coming about because of it, especially if it means people losing money. And I just think that this is something which they haven't thought about properly at all. But yeah, Rachel Maskell has said that a number of Labour MPs have written to Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer. There was also an article about letters being sent by numbers of charities, including Mind, the Trussell Trust, of course, who do the food banks. Several charities have been writing to the Chancellor as well to tell them that this is the bad idea. And it's interesting when you hear, and I talked about it in the video yesterday, it's interesting when you hear correspondents on the news saying that the Conservatives backed down from means testing PIP because they were advised that it was a monumentally bad thing to do, and they backed down from it. And yet the Labour Party, who are supposed to be there for people, supposed to be there to support people, could be just doing it in the face of all of this opposition, in the face of all of this advisors, I'm sure, are telling them it's a bad idea, but they're going to go ahead with it anyway. I feel almost certain that they will. So it's difficult, isn't it, that you think Labour almost being more Tory than Tories are, or Tories were. So I think this is a very difficult situation, and I don't think that there's going to be any kind of a U-turn on it. They may decide to soften it, and bearing in mind this has still got to go, you know, the green paper's still got to go for consultation, so there's an opportunity there for it to be watered down or to be, you know, changed in some way during that process, because of the, you know, there is a process to this. So it's going to be going for consultation, and then after that it's going to go probably to the House of Commons to be looked at again, and things like that. So there is a process to it. So this looks like it's going to take a while to actually go through, but of course they want to save money straight away, pretty much straight away. So I think that the freeze on PIP is something which a lot of people are concerned about, and probably one way that they'll be able to get money a lot sooner, because obviously if they don't raise the PIP amount by the, you know, by the rate of inflation, I think it's not even the rate of inflation this year, but if they decide to freeze PIP next year, that will save them money. But of course I read an article that it could cost people around £300 a year in lost benefits, because obviously it's not going up with the rate of inflation. So that is one way I think they can spare some money. I don't think it's going to spare them the whole amount, but it is one way that they might be able to do it. But let me know down in the comment section what you think. Do you think that lobbying your MP, I mean, if you're concerned about this, it's one way of doing it, sending a letter to your MP and telling them how concerned you are. Will it make any difference? I'm not entirely sure that it will, but it adds weight to these MPs and may decide to push them against voting for anything in the future. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts as always, and don't forget to subscribe if you've got this far, as always, and I will see you next time.